Okay, so for electrolysis, the definition have to know. Okay, so it is a chemical process of using electricity to break down or even decompose a substance or a compound, which is usually an ionic compound in the molten or the aqueous solution. Why must it be molten or aqueous? Because inside these two, if it's ionic, they will have cations and anions. So this electrolysis, the main thing is it must break it down into cations and anions. Okay, so electrolysis setup, you will have an electrolyte. Electrolyte is the compound that will conduct electricity in the molten or the aqueous state. It is also the compound that you are trying to break up. Okay, so once it decomposes, you will form cations and anions, and then the ions will be free to move around so that from one end of the electrode to the other end, the ions are free to move around, electricity can flow. Okay, so then the word electrode comes in. So electrode is a metal plate or a carbon rod that will connect the wire from a battery or an electrical source to an electrolyte. If you look at the diagram, it actually looks like this. Okay, you have the battery here, you have your wires, then you got your electrode, then you have your electrolyte. So then there will be a complete circuit, provided the electrolyte is ions. Okay, which electrolyte are not ions? So example, those that are made up of molecule, like your covalent compound. So covalent compound don't have ions. It cannot even dissolve in water. So if you put it here, nothing is going to happen. Okay, or if let's say you have like just a metal alone is possible because you have ions and electrons. So the electricity is able to go through. You will be able to get a complete circuit. Okay, so for this electrode, the electrode that is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, how you know whether it's negative? The diagram, the shorter line is the negative. Okay, it's understood it's negative. So the one that is connected to the negative side is called the cathode. Okay, then the electrode that is connected to the positive terminal is called the anode. Okay, so for this, you have to know that cathode will be attracting cations. The C will attract the C, and the A will attract the A. Okay, so later we will take a look at what it means by attracting. Okay, so the electrodes will conduct electricity through the electrical conduction. If the electrode is inert, inert means it's not reactive. So it will just be a plate. It will not even like take part in a reaction. It's just the surface for the electricity to flow. Okay, so usually inert electrodes, if you see carbon, graphite or platinum, they are under inert. Okay, if it's reactive electrodes, then they are usually metal electrodes. So they will be able to break down during the whole electricity process. Okay, so this one means it's reactive because they may be involved in breaking down. So example, you have your copper or your silver electrode. Okay, and of course you must have a battery involved if there's no electrolysis. Okay, so if you look at this diagram here, like what we mentioned, the negative terminal, this is called the cathode. Okay, the cathode have to know, okay, must highlight this one. For cathode, reduction will happen at the cathode. Okay, reduction meaning you will gain electrons. Because electrolysis, we are talking about losing and gaining electrons. So you're looking under the electrons thing. If cathode undergoes reduction, means whatever thing over here, it will be gaining electrons to go through reduction. Okay, so that is why if your electrolyte, you got cation, the cation will naturally be attracted to the cathode because cation need to gain back electrons to become the element form. Okay, if you're confused, if you see element, you want to become cation, you are losing electrons. So now if you are already a cation form, you want to become back the element, you need to gain back electrons. So then you need to be attracted towards this cathode for reduction to happen. Okay, so the same thing for the opposite. For anode, it's only oxidation happening. Oxidation means losing electrons. So if your electrolyte, you have your anion need to lose back electrons to go back to the element state. Because previously, if it's an element, you gain electron to become n-ion. So n-ion need to lose back electron to become back the element. So n-ions will be attracted towards the anode. Okay, so that's why C will attract the C, A will attract the A. And cathode is always reduction, anode is always oxidation. So how are you going to write down the half equation? Half equation means like what is happening here and what is happening over there. Okay, because cations is like having some reaction at one side, anion is having reaction at the other side. So you have for this part here, if your electrolyte is any of this cation, so you have this abbreviation YN plus. Cation is like an element with something charged with a plus. So you are going to gain back that number of electrons to become back your element. Okay, so therefore you have this half equation here. Okay, the other side, your anode. So your anode is negative, right? So X, then whatever charge negative. Okay, negative is going to lose back electrons to become the element. Okay, but then in equation wise, we don't put negative electron. So rather than putting minus electron, you bring the minus over. So it's actually your Xm minus is the same as your element plus back your electron, give you this Xm minus. Okay, but actually this Xm minus is losing m electrons to become X. Just that in half equation, they don't like to see negative. So they bring the negative over to become a positive here. Okay, so that's how you get your two half equations. Okay, so when the cation or anions in the electrolyte, they are gaining electrons or losing electrons, they will form back the element form, which is your atom or the molecule. So we call them discharged, meaning the cation is discharged to become back the element. The anion is discharged to become back the element. So this word discharge means it becomes back the element. Okay, and also elements and compounds conduct electricity through two methods. Okay, the first way is your flow of electrons will take place. Okay, so because you gain electron, lose electron, so there's a flow of electron. The second way is your electrolyte conduction. Because of these ions, that's why you are able to complete the whole circuit. Okay, so far